Hey, Sean Hannity here with a highlight from my radio show today, right here on iHeartRadio.
This is the Sean Hannity Show.
All right, thanks, Scott Shannon. Glad you're with us. Sean Hannity Show, toll free. It's 800-941-SEAN if you want to be a part of the program. And Senator Lindsey Graham from South Carolina is back with us. How are you?
Hey, Sean, good. How you doing?
Now, is there a problem with you and Senator McCain and people like Ted Cruz and Marco and Rand Paul and Mike Lee? What's going on? Because, I mean, why did Senator McCain call them wacko birds? And you guys,
never good to say that.
Yeah, that's true.
It's never good to say that. No, I agree with Rand on a lot of issues, but on foreign policy, we're on different planets. I'm a Ronald Reagan conservative Republican who believes in peace through strength. Rand's a very fine fellow who's more of a libertarian. That's all. This is about just a disagreement on foreign policy.
Where is this, I guess, disagreement going? Because there's been attacks, more specifically by John McCain, although you were pretty harsh in some of your comments against these guys saying that they were going to filibuster this gun control bill.
The gun control bill, this is easy for me. What we ought to be doing, in my view, is having a debate on guns. I welcome the debate. I'm not afraid of what I believe. I think the universal background check idea, when exposed, will make no sense to the average American. That if you're going to give you got kids, Sean? How old are your kids?
I have 14 and 11.
Okay, if you give a 14-year-old boy or girl?
14's a boy.
Okay, if you give your son a shotgun, do you think most Americans support a background check? That's what their bill does. This is their proposal.
Even though I was a marksman at 12, a pistol marksman, I learned my parents were in law enforcement. Mm-hmm. I haven't taken my kids shooting yet. They want to go, but I'm just waiting until they get a little bit older.
Fair enough.
That's just my own personal preference, but yeah, I think that's stupid.
But there's a lot of things that they're proposing stupid. The assault weapons ban didn't work in the 90s. It's not going to work now. There's a lot of Democrats that really don't want to vote on this stuff, but we should make them vote. If you really believe in the Second Amendment, here's a chance to prove it. So,
do you think these red state senators that are up for re-election in 2014, like Joe Manchin and who else, Mary Landrieu, you think they would be inclined to vote with the Republicans?
That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? But I can tell you this, they're not going to be defined by one vote. If they voted against the Feinstein amendment to ban assault weapons, which just helps criminals, and I got an AR-15.
So do I. Got 3 of them.
Okay, well,
yeah.
We own it. Do you really?
Yeah, I do.
Well, I got one. I'm a military guy. I think I should be allowed to lawfully own it. I went through a background check. But to ban those weapons is not going to fix the problem. Nothing they're proposing would have avoided the Sandy Hook massacre. There are 4 million AR-15s in circulation. Yep. It's a commonly used gun. I think if Joe Biden said if a gang comes to your house.
How stupid. Shoot through the.
With a shotgun. But what house are they going to go to? The house with no gun, the house with a shotgun, or the house with AR-15? They're coming to our houses last, Sean. If there's an earthquake or another hurricane in South Carolina or up where you live, and there's a gang roaming through your neighborhood, you're out front with an AR-15, they're going to give you a pass.
I think you're right, but not only that, especially for people that maybe aren't as enthusiastic. I mean, before my hearing went out from all these years in radio, I mean, I used to shoot fairly regularly, but literally I would recommend somebody that preferred a rifle over a pistol. I carry a pistol. I would recommend to them that they have an AR-15 over a lot of these shotguns because they'll put somebody right on their backside.
Well, let's just talk about it. One, it's an intimidating weapon. I like shooting. I'm a military guy. Yep. I take it out to shoot. You can hunt with it. But what about capacity? What about limiting magazine sizes to 10 rounds? Okay, there are thousands, if not millions, of high-capacity magazines available to criminals.
And you can make them.
Well, let me tell you about Atlanta, Georgia. About 2 months ago, you had a guy just out of jail, broke into a home in a suburban neighborhood in Atlanta. There was a young mother there with 2 9-year-old twin daughters. Mm-hmm. She ran upstairs, got in the closet, got on the phone to her husband. She had a .38 revolver, 6-shot revolver, talking to her husband.
5 shots.
Finds him in the closet.
Yeah.
She empties the gun, hits him 5 times, and he's still able to crawl out.
Scary, isn't it?
And leave. Well, do you mind her having 15 rounds?
No.
I don't. I don't care if she has 100.
I don't either. I
don't want the kid, the nut job in Sandy Hook, up in Connecticut to have 1 bullet. But in the hands of a mother defending her children, 10 rounds is not enough. And do you realize that 1/3 of all the assaults committed in America are by multiple people? What if there had been 2 people in her home?
That's a good point. All right, let's move on to the immigration Gang of 8 issue. Right. Schumer said that it was going to get done this week. You said that you thought a bargain could be reached by July. Where are you on this now?
No, I know what I said. He asked me about a budget deal by July.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the...
No, it's about budget.
Immigration.
We're close. We're not there yet, and but it's been productive. We're close, and I'll be glad to talk to you about sort of the concepts that we're working on, if you'd like.
Yeah, I would appreciate it. The one thing I don't trust these guys. And I think I have good reason not to trust Chuck Schumer. I've watched him. He's been my senator all these years. And no offense. I mean, I met him personally. I'm just being honest.
The trust is low. I doubt if he trusts you. But
I don't think he trusts me at all. Now, I would like it. I would like our border secure for national security reasons.
Can I suggest to you?
Yeah.
Let's talk. Now, this is a good opportunity. They're not going to sell a bill to me or you or anybody else that doesn't prevent a third wave of illegal immigration. Our great hero, Ronald Reagan, gave amnesty to 3 million people, and he didn't follow up, and now you got 11 million. We've lost control of our country. We've lost our sovereignty. Every sovereign nation should have the right to say who comes to their country and on what terms they stay. That's been lost. How do you regain it? Secure your border in a fashion to stop people from flooding over, because if you don't, you'll never solve the problem. But we got 11 million legal immigrants here for one reason. That's 99% of them are to work. If you can control who gets a job in America and secure your border, you're not going to have a third wave of illegal immigration.
All right. So now here's the question in terms of priorities.
Right.
Because it's sort of like Democrats. They always say the spending cuts will come after the tax increases.
This is the issue right here. You've hit on that. What do you do first? This is the issue. This is why we're still talking. I'm confident that if you don't get the border secured, along with a national E-Verify system up and running before you have a pathway to citizenship, that's stupid. I will never agree to that. In my view, the only way we can prevent a third wave of illegal immigration is to get the border secured as reasonably as possible, but also control who gets a job through a national E-Verify system. And you use the system, you hire somebody illegally, under those conditions you should get fined or lose your business. That has to be up and running, in place, working before you do the pathway to citizenship.
Now, I've been told that the latest discussions would be that there would be some type of panel that would verify the security of the border, and it would include, for example, people like Rick Perry, people that are impacted at border locations.
This is the fallback. I mean, I might as well just tell you, because we're going to be talking about this a lot. There's 2 steps in securing our border and controlling who gets a job. I believe if you don't have a national E-Verify system where employers can access quickly and determine if the person applying for the job is legal or not, you're not going to be able to control illegal employment. So I want that up and running before we do anything on the pathway to citizenship. I want to complete the fencing that makes sense, and I want to spend more money on technology that hasn't been implemented yet before we move toward a pathway to citizenship. But after 5 years, if after a 5-year period we've got E-Verify up and running, we've spent another $4 or $5 billion to secure the border, if we haven't obtained a 90% goal, where 90% of the people we spot coming in illegally are captured or returned, then this commission kicks into place where you have people who live along the border tell the Congress what we need to do to get to 90%.
All right, so in the meantime, what is the status of the 11 million people?
The 11 million people will get a legal status apart from a pathway to citizenship. They will be allowed to come out of the shadows, raise their hands, get biometrically identified. They can stay here on a 4-year temporary work visa. They're required to become English proficient, pay a fine, pay back taxes. Once the border's been determined,
do these people get any type of government services?
None, zero. They have to be self-supporting. They have to have a job. And if you're a disabled person, you have to have a support network to stay here, just like you would if you got a visa or a green card. They don't get Obamacare. They don't get welfare. They don't get Medicare. They don't get Social Security. They don't get any of that stuff. Okay, so then the first thing is you're going to secure the border. The second thing is you're basically giving a temporary hold to the people who are here. Can I add? You secure the border by implementing technology, building the fence, and you have E-Verify to control who gets a job up and running, because it's not going to be very smart to come here if you can't get a job. If you can control who got a job, then it becomes a trickle.
Yeah. All right. So then the point is that those that are here, again,
right.
I support the goal. I think you can get higher than 90%, but that's especially if you use the new Predator drone technology and every.
You know how many drones we have on the border?
How many?
We have 6. We need about 12 more.
Yeah.
You can secure the border, but 40% of the people here illegally overstayed their visas.
Yeah.
All the hijackers, Sean.
How do we stop them? How do we stop
them?
that?
We've got another condition before the pathway of citizenship can start is to control entry and exit visas. When you come into an airport or to a seaport, before you can go to a pathway to citizenship, we have to have a system that can enroll everybody who comes in or leaves. So the hijackers came in as students, right? Their visa expired, and our current system could not capture the fact that they were visa overstays. A lot of them got stopped for speeding. What we're going to do is replace that system with a tracking system. The day you enter the country on a visa, the expiration date will be sent all over the country to law enforcement people who will know you're here in a legal status.
Okay, I'm listening.
Okay, so that's how
what happens? And then how do you get if they overstay their visa? Then
DHS is notified, the FBI is notified,
and they are then set for deportation if they're found.
Absolutely, yeah, with a complete ban for coming back.
All right. Let me ask you this, because I heard if you put this stay on dealing with the people, in other words, while you're getting the border up and running and fully secure, and you give the stay for the 11 million people, then I was told that in 10 years they could go to the back of the line just to apply for a green card. Is that true?
Oh, okay. Why would you want to have a 10-year ban? If you were captured tomorrow in the United States and you're here illegally, our current law says you're banned from coming back into the country for a 10-year period. So I think that's only fair. So there will be a 10-year ban on anybody here who came out of the shadows for applying for a green card. And once you apply for a green card, you got it absolutely right. You apply for a green card by getting in the back of the line from the country you live in.
And that's after a 10-year period.
Right. There's a 10-year ban on applying for a green card. Once you apply for a green card, you got to get in the back of the line of the people who are there in front of you.
Look, it sounds on paper like a solution. No, listen, it sounds on paper. Why do I just think that I feel like these guys are going to pull the rug out from underneath you guys, and they're going to come out with a big press conference and say you suck and you hate Hispanics and you hate Latinos and all this?
Well, let me tell you, here's what I think as a party we need to embrace. A practical solution to the 11 million, I just think, is in the best interest of the country.
Okay, but do they want this when they can demagogue it is what I'm saying?
Well, yes, they do, because, if you really care about the 11 million illegal immigrants, and you got Republicans like now me and you saying, okay, we're going to give you a fair shot. You got to get in the back of the line. You got to pay taxes. You got to learn English. You got to do it right. Well, that changes their lives. And that's what most of these people have been looking for. And if the Republican Party will say, count us in for an earned pathway to citizenship, the politics of this changes overnight. And if the unions try to undercut the bill by not having a guest worker program business can use, well, then they're throwing Hispanics over for the unions. I don't think they'll do that.
Well, I guess it's always comes down. The devil is going to be in the details,
That's why we don't have a bill right now.
Is it really going to be 1,800 pages?
I don't know how long it's going to be. I don't know. I don't want to. I don't know.
Do you know, every time you guys pass a bill, you ruin my life because I have to read this crap.
But here's the process.
What?
Okay, the process is we're going to have a hearing. We had one in 2006 when we did this on Bush's watch. We're going to have a committee markup in Judiciary where we'll have the bill for days, if not weeks. So people who dislike it can vote against it. You can amend it to make it better. It will go through the Judiciary Committee through the normal process.
Yep.
Then it will come to the floor of the United States Senate for a very, I think, robust debate. And if it can withstand all of that, it would go to the House.
Have you been communicating with the House on what the provisions
are? Yeah, I have. I've been talking to a lot of people over there. Labrador is a great guy, Paul Ryan. There's a gang in the House that's working on a very similar package with an earned pathway to citizenship, a guest worker program, border security. And let me just say about the guest worker program. The goal is to not displace a willing American worker. I don't want a foreign worker hired if there's an American that would do the job at a competitive wage. But if you can't find a worker, and you can advertise that the cows come home in certain areas of our economy and not fill those jobs, I don't want to deny an American business the ability to get a willing worker to come here and keep that business afloat. So this is where the unions go nuts. They hate the idea of a guest worker program.
All right, Senator, thanks.
Not union.
Thanks for being with us. We appreciate it, and we'll continue to update it. But remember, trust and verify. I don't trust Schumer, and I don't trust Obama. And
just trust the system to be able to look at the bill. Nobody's going to get hoodwinked. It's going to be read.
I don't trust the system either.
Well, I think in this case you can. Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we talk every week about what's going on? I'll make a commitment to be on your show every week.
All right,
you can
that's
ask
fair.
me any questions you want to ask me. Remember when we did this for Roberts?
Yes, I do. But what a disappointment.
I will come on your show, not me, Marco. We'll come on your show, and we'll talk about any questions you have. I'll do it every week until we have a vote.
John Roberts turned out to be a disappointment, but that's a different issue. Thanks for being with us, Senator.
Take care, pal.
For more of the Sean Hannity Show, go to Hannity.com.